Hey gang, it's Rob from ITMasterKey.com, and today we're going to help you pass the Azure AI Engineer Associate Practice Exam. With AI booming, with AI being everywhere, this is a really hot exam and just a really hot field to get in. So if you've never did training with me before, what I do is I go through some practice questions. There'll be scenario based. We kind of break down what the question is talking about, give you some time to figure out what you think the answer is, and I'll actually give you the answer and explain why that is the answer. So I'm excited to meet you, excited that you're here, and let's just get straight into it. I don't want to waste any of your valuable time. So I'll make this guy smaller, move this guy over. All right, so just a quick introduction to me. I'm Rob. I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan, and I help people just like you get certifications just like this and start rewarding tech careers. I have been doing this for almost 20 years. I have 15,000 students taught, and that's counting. Last time I counted, that's how many people I helped get certifications and get into IT. I have 12 industry certifications, I have a master's in this stuff, and I'm an all around good guy. So, as always, I want to give a huge shout out to all of the current students in the Zero to IT Pro program and all of the future students that will be in the Zero to IT Pro program. If you've never heard of the Zero to IT Pro program, it is a program that helps people just like you get the most in-demand certifications in the industry. Also, huge shout out to all of the channel members for the YouTube channel. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, become a member and I'll be more than happy to answer those questions for you. If you can see this smoke, I'm not in a goddamn dungeon. I just, have sinus issues and allergies and all that type of stuff. So I got a humidifier right here. So don't worry, my damn house is not on fire. All right. So let's go ahead and get into the questions. Once again, like I said, I'll read the question, give you some time to figure out what you think it is, and then we'll break it down as a family to understand exactly why that is the answer. Also, just drop in the comments. Let me know where you checking in from, where you from, why you thinking about getting into AI, so on and so forth. Only thing I ask is that you do not put the answers in the comments because there's going to be other people watching this, and I don't want you to ruin that for them. All right, you ready to go? Let's go. All right, so as far as the certification, who is this really for? So it's for people that want to be AI engineers and want to be ML or machine learning engineers. Also, software developers that are looking to get into AI or machine learning cloud applications, data scientists, bot developers, and solution architects focus on intelligent apps. Also, professionals responsible for deploying and operationalizing AI models in production. So there aren't any like mandatory prerequisites for taking this exam, but these are just a few recommendations. One, you have 1 year of experience in developing AI or data science solutions, familiarity with Python or C, hands-on knowledge of Azure services, REST APIs, containers, and version control, experience working with cognitive services, Azure bot services, and Azure machine learnings. Now, I've had students that don't have any of this stuff pass the exam on their first try. Now, is that going to be your journey? Is that going to happen for you? I don't know because I don't know who the hell you are. But it's not a requirement, right, to have a year of experience or any experience at all. But it's just a recommended. Just kind of want to drive that home. All right, so here we go. You're developing a chatbot for an insurance provider using Azure Bot Framework and Azure Cognitive Services. The bot must authenticate users with Azure Active Directory, Azure AD, and provide policy information only after successful login. However, during testing, users can bypass authentication and directly access the bot's underlying Q&A maker knowledge base. This presents a major security concern. You need to ensure secure identity-based access without disrupting the conversational flow. What is the most appropriate solution? So once again, just so you don't think I'm standing here being a weirdo, just read the answers for yourself, figure out what you think it is, what the answer is, and then we'll kind of break down what the answer is in the next slide. If you haven't done so, make sure you like this video so we can get into the YouTube algorithm and get in front of more people so we can help more people just like you pass this exam. I think that was more than enough time. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. So what is the most appropriate solution, right? So when you're actually taking an exam, make sure you pay attention to that stuff. What's the most appropriate solution? What's the best solution? What's the fastest solution? Okay. So the best thing would be to integrate OAuth 2 authentication and the bot using the bot. So to prevent unauthorized access, the bot must use the bot framework's built-in support for OAuth 2 authentication with Azure AD. This allows for secure identity verification, and you can then restrict access to the QA Maker endpoint by requiring an access token. All right, let's get to the next one. Just so we set the mood, this is kind of the level of the questions in this training, right? So if you're looking for practice questions, we have a practice test vault. You can get access to that in the description. All right, next up, your task with developing a solution where processes customer support emails to extract intents and classify sentiment using Azure Cognitive Services. The model must handle both English and Spanish inputs and support near real-time processing. Your manager wants minimal overhead and expects the architecture to auto-scale with usage. After evaluating various approaches, you must recommend a design that delivers high accuracy, multilingual support, and ease of integration. Which architecture best meets these goals? Three, 2, 1. All right, what would best meet those goals is use Azure Text Analytics for sentiment and key phrase extraction with language detection enabled. Azure Text Analytics supports sentiment analysis, language detection, and key phrase extraction out of the box. So straight out from the manufacturer. It handles multiple languages, including English and Spanish, and is highly scalable with real API, making it ideal for near real-time workloads. So pretty much real time means in real time, right? Right now, as it's happening, it can make those changes that you need. You're designing an AI-powered search experience for a large document archive using Azure Cognitive Search. Documents include scanned PDFs, handwritten notes, and structured data. The solution must allow natural language queries and surface relevant results from all formats, including extracting entities and key phrases. Some content is sensitive and must be searchable by certain users. What's the best combination of features to include in your search pipeline? Three, 2, 1. Use a skill set with OCR and entity recognition, integrate with Azure RBAC or role-based access control, and enable semantic search. That's another thing, gang. If you are on the exam, there's going to be a lot of acronyms, right? And if you don't know what these acronyms stand for, it's going to make the exam a lot harder than it needs to be. So Azure Cognitive Search supports AI enrichment skill sets, allowing you to apply OCR, extract entities, and generate searchable content from both structured and unstructured documents. Azure Role-Based Access Control can restrict search results based on user identity, and semantic search enhancement relevance using deep learning. Now, one thing I want to point out really quickly is I know a lot of people are interested in AI. A lot of people want to get in AI careers, and that's awesome because there's a lot of opportunity to get AI gigs, to get AI jobs. But I also want you to understand that AI is continuously growing, it's continuously evolving, but it's not quite as scary. It's not quite as crazy as most people think, right? If you use AI on a day-to-day basis, if you use these different AI agents, so on and so forth, you'll kind of notice the limitations in there, right? And I also want you guys not to get an overconfidence, right? If you just use Chat GPT to do some essay questions or to make some captions on Instagram, that's cool. There's so many different layers to AI, and it goes so much deeper, and the functionality and the application for AI is so much deeper than that, right? But if you're here, you're in the right place because it's not going anywhere. All right, so let's go to the next question. A developer is building a virtual assistant using Azure Bot Framework integrated with language understanding. During testing, the bot frequently fails to identify intents correctly, especially when users use informal or varied phrasing. The bot also struggles when users mix English and local language terms. The team wants to improve language understanding and make the bot more adaptive to different user expressions without starting from scratch. What's the best strategy to improve accuracy? Kind of feel like I don't know what to do while I'm waiting. I don't know if I do some push-ups, do my taxes. 3, 2, 1. I remember on the actual exam, you're not gonna have that much time. So if it's like, damn, you're moving too fast, you need to think better. You need to think quicker, man. You need to be able to read these questions and then give the answers quickly, right? And if it's your first time looking at this stuff, first time ever seeing it, then it's understandable it's going to take you a little bit more time. But on the actual exam, you don't have the luxury of time, right? You got to be a sniper when you get inside of there. All right, so the best way or the best strategy would be add more utterances to the Lewis model and retrain. Lewis models improve with more diverse training data by adding varied utterances that reflect different user inputs, including code mixing, language blending. You can improve intent recognition accuracy. Retraining the model after expanding utterances helps Lewis generalize better. Now, we just said what Lewis stands for, right? We just said what Lewis stands for. I just told you what Lewis stands for. Right now, without looking or Googling anything, drop in the comments what Lewis stands for. What does Lewis stand for? I just told you the importance of acronyms, and we're going to see if your fucking brain works, right? We're going to see if you are actually retaining any of the stuff we talked about, right? So what does Lewis stand for? Put it in the comments. 5 questions in, how are we doing? A client wants to implement facial recognition for an office entry system using Azure Cognitive Services. The system must detect and identify known employees in real time and deny access to unregistered faces. Privacy laws require all facial data to be stored within the organization's region, and the client prefers minimal management overhead. You must recommend the most secure, scalable, and compliant solution. What's your recommendation? And once again, gang, make sure that you are honing in on certain parts of the question. You must recommend the thing that is most secure, scalable, and compliant. Another thing, gang, is make sure that you're drinking water as well. I don't want you going there dehydrated. It's going to improve, if you are hydrated, it's going to improve your cognitive ability, recall, all that type of shit. And I have noticed that people that do not like drinking water are the people I do not want to be around. I seriously think there is a direct correlation between people that don't drink water and intelligence. All right, so what do we think? 3, 2, 1. All right, so use Azure Face API with person group training and regional data residency settings. Azure Face API supports real-time detection and identification, and it allows you to train a person group with known faces. Microsoft ensures that facial data stays within the selected region, which satisfies privacy regulations. It also is a fully managed service, which reduces operational overhead. All right. So drop in the comments. Why is that important? Why is that line right there important? It says Microsoft ensures that facial data stays, supposedly, it said Microsoft ensures that facial data stays within the selected region, which satisfies privacy regulations. Why is that important? Drop in the comments. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. No conspiracy shit. No weird stuff. Just tell me, why is that important? All right. Why is that important? All right. Number 6. If you have not liked the video, right? If you have not liked the video yet, I'm sorry to inform you, but I would like for you to go to hell. Sorry, man. That's just the way the game goes, right? I've taken time out of my day to help you, right? I already know all this shit, so I took time out of my day, and all I ask is for a like, so we can get into these YouTube streets and then get into this algorithm, which is powered by AI. All right, so here we go. You are developing a solution using Azure machine learning to train a model for detecting fraudulent transactions. The data set contains millions of rows and is stored in Azure Data Lake. Your training pipeline needs to scale efficiently and avoid runtime interruptions. Additionally, compliance requires all training and logs to remain within the organization's Azure region. What is the most appropriate setup to meet these requirements? Three, two, one. So the most appropriate setup would be use Azure ML pipeline with a managed compute cluster and configure regional data residency. Azure ML pipelines with managed compute clusters allow you to scale training workloads, retry on failure, and maintain compliance by keeping operations within a selected region. You can configure workspace settings to ensure that compute logs and models are region bound. Local or personal machines introduce risk and aren't scalable or compliant. Now, one of the questions you may be asking is, where do these questions come from? These questions came from right here. All right, so I created all these questions literally just for you guys. And if you want more questions like this, you can look at the link in the description, and literally all the ways that me and my team help you are in the description. And it's actually awesome segue to the sponsor of this trainer right here, which is Master IT, the home of the Zero to IT Pro program that helps you get 3 of the most popular certifications in the industry in as little as 90 days. So if that sounds interesting to you, hit the first link in the description. It'll go through some free training, and it'll show you exactly how we do what we do. If you want to do it on your own, you can. More likely you're not going to be able to. But if you want to do it on your own and I can waste a bunch of time, you can. Or you can have me and my team's help, and we can actually help you get these certifications that employers are looking for, and the certification that you need to get into IT. Also, super important news, the next cohort of our live training is going to be in September, right? Prerequisite to that is being in the pro program, and then you can get into the hero program, which is the whole shebang bang, Certs, skills, and we'll help you get a job. Now, let's get back to the training. All right, so you're designing a real-time translation feature for a multilingual chatbot deployed in multiple countries. The chatbot is built on Azure Bot Service and integrates with Azure Cognitive Services. The client wants users to interact in their native language while the backend handles translation seamlessly. Performance, latency, and response relevance are all critical success factors. Which architecture design best meets these goals? Three, two, one. Integrate Azure Translator Text API before sending input to Lewis and bot logic. Pre-processing user input using Azure Translator ensures that all downstream services like Lewis and business logic work on a consistent language model, usually English. This improves intent recognition, keeps your bot logic centralized and manageable. An organization is building a document classification tool using Azure Form Recognizer. They plan to process contracts, invoices, and delivery notes and extract relevant data fields from each document type. However, these documents vary in layout, format, and field positioning. The solution must be highly accurate, adaptable to layout changes, and able to integrate with a Power Automate workflow for downstream actions. Which approach is most appropriate? Three, two, one. Train custom form recognizer models for each document type using labeled data. Custom models and form recognizer are designed for handling documents with various formats. You can train these models using labeled data so that they learn how to accurately extract the required fields based on content and positioning. Pre-built models are useful but limited to standard templates, receipts, or business cards. Your team is developing a content moderation pipeline for a social media app using Azure Content Moderator. The service will analyze images and text submitted by users and flag inappropriate or offensive content. However, the legal team requires that moderation results be transparent and stored for audit purposes. Additionally, moderators need the ability to override automated decisions when necessary. What is the best approach to design this moderation workflow? So every platform that you use has automated moderation and manual moderation. So YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, everywhere, right? I think the least least moderated platform is probably X, because it's all. I don't know. I had to delete X. That shit. I don't know. I had the wrong feed, but it would be like news, sports, somebody getting their fucking head cut off. So it was like, okay, this is too much for me. So, which platform, if you had to choose, which platform would you want to be a moderator for, right? Because unfortunately, like I said, everybody has access to the internet. So people try to upload crazy stuff to the internet all the time. So if it gets past the automation, people have to manually delete like all types of crazy stuff off of the internet. So if you had to choose, put it in the comments. Which platform would you want to moderate? All right, so there should have been enough time. Let's get into the answer. So for this, use Content Moderator and send flagged items to Logic app for review logging and human validation. By integrating Content Moderator and Logic apps, you can automate moderation while retaining human in-the-loop capability for overrides and review logging. This ensures auditability, transparency, and compliance with legal requirements. So one of the biggest reasons you don't want to fully automate moderation is because there's going to be discrimination. There's going to be, it's not going to be fair, basically, right? Because AI sometimes gets things wrong. It may think something is controversial when it's really not. It may think something is, bad, but really not. So you want to always have a human element just to make sure nobody gets pissed off and it's not blocking the wrong content from being viewed. You've deployed a predictive model using Azure machine learning and exposed it via a real-time endpoint. After a few weeks, users report increasing latency and intermittent timeout errors during peak hours. The model itself performs well in offline tests. Your monitoring shows that the CPU utilization of the inference cluster is consistently high during traffic spikes. What is the most effective way to resolve this performance issue? 3, 2, 1. So the most effective way would be to increase the number of nodes in the Azure ML inference cluster with auto scaling. High CPU usage and latency during peak hours suggests a scaling issue, not a problem with the model itself. Enable auto scaling for Azure Machine Learning Inference Cluster allows it to spin up additional instances with demand when demand increases. A customer is using Azure AI to develop a voice-based assistant that will keep internal employees. Let me start over. A customer is using Azure AI to develop a voice-based assistant that will help internal employees retrieve company policies and perform basic HR tasks. The assistant must understand natural language commands, respond via speech, and integrate securely with internal systems like SharePoint and Microsoft Graph API. What is the most complete and efficient architecture for this solution? Three, two, one. So the most complete solution would be use Azure Bot Service, integrate speech SDK for voice, Lewis for intent recognition, and authenticate with Microsoft Graph using OAuth 2. This architecture covers all required components: Azure Bot Service for dialogue management, speech SDK for voice interaction, Lewis for understanding user intent, and OAuth 2 for secure access to internal APIs like Microsoft Graph. Your AI team needs to evaluate model fairness and identify potential bias in a classification model before deployment. The model predicts employee attrition, and stakeholders are concerned it may be biased against certain age groups or genders. Azure machine learning must be used to assess fairness and ensure ethical compliance. What is the best way to approach this? Three, two, one. Use Azure Responsible AI Dashboard to generate fairness and error metrics. The Responsible AI Dashboard in Azure ML provides tools to assess model fairness, detect bias, and explain model predictions using interpretability metrics. It's built specifically to handle sensitive use cases and guide responsible deployment. A logistics company wants to use Azure AI to detect damage in shipment images automatically. They have thousands of labeled images of damaged and undamaged boxes. The solution must be accurate, scalable, and easily trainable by non-developers and the operations team. Which Azure service is best suited for this scenario? Azure Custom Vision. Azure Custom Vision allows users to upload label images, train models without writing code, and deploy them via a REST API. It's ideal for computer vision use cases like object detection and image classification, and it supports iterative training. So let me know in the comments. Have you ever used AI before? Have you ever used AI before? If you're interested in this, hopefully you have used AI before. And if not, what are you waiting for? What's the first, what made you come here? So on and so forth. Let me know. I'm interested to know what made you want to get into AI. And if you haven't used any AI platforms, no chatbots, no agents, no nothing, you haven't used anything from Microsoft that is AI related, just let me know why and what got you interested. Your task with evaluating a model's performance in a real-time fraud detection system. The model was trained using historical transaction data and is now live in production. You must monitor its performance continuously, detect data drift, and alert the team when retraining is necessary. What Azure capabilities should you use? That's one thing about AI models and stuff like that. It's not just set and forget. As new data is inputted, as user behavior changes, as the world changes, you need to retrain the AI model to make sure that it's current, and then it's not doing something weird. It's not doing something that's going to create bias. It's not doing something that's going to create just some issues for you down the line. Because AI is cool, but there is going to be so many regulations. There already is a bunch of regulations, but it's going to continue to be more regulations and more shit you got to be compliant with. So you got to make sure that, if you build a model, if you use a model, that it's not doing anything that creates any type of biases, because that's going to be pretty bad, for your company. Had to pop a squat. So if you're just now joining us, I'm not in a fucking dungeon. I am dealing with some allergies, so that's just my humidifier. Like the office ain't on fire. Everything's okay. That's just steam. All right, so y'all ready? Y'all should have more than enough time to figure out what you think the answer is. So let's see. So the best thing to do would be to configure Azure ML, a data drift monitoring feature. Azure ML or machine learning includes built-in monitoring tools to detect data drift between training and incoming production data. This helps ensure model accuracy is maintained and alerts teams when retraining may be needed. A team is deploying a recommendation engine using Azure Machine Learning. The model is built using a custom algorithm and requires periodic retraining as new data is ingested from Azure SQL database. Retraining should occur automatically, and only the best performing model should be promoted to production. How should the team design the pipeline? Three, two, one. Use Azure ML pipelines with data triggers, model evaluation, and deployment steps. Azure ML pipelines allow you to automate end-to-end workflows, including retraining, model evaluation, and conditional deployment. You can configure triggers based on data changers or schedule them, ensuring consistent model freshness. All right, gang, that's it. That's all. Hopefully this was valuable to you. Hopefully you enjoyed yourself. Hopefully you got most of the questions right. As always, make sure that you like this video and then watch my last video, which can help you pass some of the most popular certifications in the industry. Other than that, I'll see you in class. Bada boom, bada bing.